I'm Gosia from Cosmic Agency, and today I would like to make a few comments about the latest, the recent video that I made about karma. Yes, I will maybe interpret some of the concepts according to how I perceive these ideas. Okay, we have to keep in mind that Swaruu is, even though she is in a 5D world, she's also actually incarnated from the 7D existence. She is a sort of a starseed even for her own world. So her ideas are seen from a very advanced, well, from a very high level, not just from within the matrix, because yes, the 3D is a matrix and the 5D is a matrix too, is another a layer of the onion of the matrix, but it's also a matrix. It's still a physical, biological, incarnated, manifested world. And the 7D is beyond that, and she perceives things from beyond the game. So we have to keep that in mind. She's a biological woman, but at the same time she is a 7D consciousness, as we all are in a way. Today I want to talk about different ways how I see it of freeing yourself from karma, how I understand from Swaruu's messages. And the first way is simply to become aware of the game we are in. It's a very important step. It's a very important step because, as she explained, we are playing this game, physicality, as if we were playing a Monopoly game. Okay? So we are playing a Monopoly game. Here we have our house, we buy properties, we are the president of the hotel. Okay, we have played these roles, we have false money, we have false whatever, and we know it is a game. We are giving our best, we want to win, we want to buy properties, we have the money that have its value within the game, but at the same time we know that once the game is over, none of this matters, and we are not really a president of the hotel, and the money is not real. So the difference with us here in our 3D existence and even in the 5D existence is that the majority of us, we are not aware that we are within the game. So we identify ourselves with our roles as this is who we are, and we identify things like karma, false money within the Monopoly, as something real, something that we have to pay, something that we need to balance out. However, from outside the game, karma as false money within the Monopoly doesn't have its value anymore. It's not real. It is real as long as we are playing the game. But once we realize it is a game, then we realize that the money, the karma, was just a set of rules for the game. And we were behaving ourselves and acting according to those rules of the game. But they are nothing more but the rules of the game. In itself, they don't really exist. They don't have the sustenance. They don't really have an internal existence in itself. They are just rules that we ourselves from the other side, from the incarnated side, have imposed on ourselves in order to have a set of conduct rules to play with. So karma is one of those rules. So one of the ways to get rid of that is to become aware that we are playing the game, and in fact we have nothing to pay. We have nothing to pay because to pay is to continue to play the false money within the false game. So yes, it's about giving our best effort and play our role, but at the same time, as she always says, accept the schizophrenia of our identity, and become centered in our higher dimensional self that doesn't abide by these rules, because these are the rules for the incarnated part of our soul. But we are much more than that. We are the source itself, where the rules such as karma don't have their existence, because it's the source itself. It's us ourselves that have created those rules, and at any point we can say, no, enough, that's enough, we have finished, nothing more to pay. I'm changing the rules. I'm changing the game. Why incarnate all the time in the same place, on the same planet, where we keep punishing ourselves? That's right, because there's no one else who punishes us. We keep punishing ourselves to come back and repair and correct what we ourselves interpreted as something incorrect. So, first way is to get rid of karma is to realize that it is a false game rule. Okay? Then she also explained that as a cause and effect, karma does exist in a way that if you do an action, then you have a certain reaction. If you exercise, then you're going to have a certain result. And then if you go out in cold, then you'll be cold. However, the way I understand it, all these rules, even like physicality and physics, these are also, but very deeply sustained and ingrained, rules of the 3D and even 5D reality. And as she said in the video, the Iceman has proven that even these rules, so much ingrained in our reality, are to be broken. Why can they be broken? Because these rules have been imposed by the mind, by us as a source consciousness. The source consciousness, us, on a source consciousness level, we have created and generated and produced and put in place certain set of physical rules according to which abide, so we can have an existence. So we can have an existence within which limits to have a game. So if we are the ones who have created the rules, we are the ones who can change the rules, because as mind over matter principle always says, the mind is what creates and what governs the matter, not the other way around. We are not the victims of the matter and physical laws. It's us who set the physical laws in place in the first place. It's just that we don't remember it. We don't have the exact conscious access to that level of ourselves, or it seems so. We also created that limitation. We created everything. We created everything, and now it's the time to realize that we are the ones to be able to recreate it and change it if so we wish. So to get rid of the karma, to free ourselves of karma, is to become aware of the power of being able to change any rule that we want, and really connect with that interior power that we have. Also, another interesting example of how karma can be perceived actually was given to me by someone in my Spanish channel in the comments, and she said that she perceives karma as Google, who sees your actions, your searches on the internet, and then offers you and reflects to you and suggests to you other websites and other pages based on what you previously were looking for. So Matrix reads you your focus and your point of attention, where your consciousness goes, your preferences, your prejudices, your opinions, and it reflects you back whatever your attention is focused on, just as the Google is looking at what you are looking at, what you are looking for, and it gives you back the suggestions. So now, to free ourselves of that is to become aware. Again, everything always comes back to the realization, and to becoming aware of things is to become aware that there is a possibility to delete the historial of our searches in the internet, and that we can change what we want to look for and to see reflected back to us from now on. If we don't like what we are being reflected, what we are being given, let's go to the place where we can delete the search history, where we can delete the cookies, delete the historial, and begin again to focus on our attention on what we want and where we want to be, to recreate our reality in the direction that we want. And the universe will reflect it back, because that's how it works. Another thing, an important thing in this process of liberating ourselves from karma, from what I understand from Swaruu's messages, is to become aware that we are always giving our best to whatever role we are playing. We are giving its best attention and our best, and then not to get attached to any sensation of guilt, any sensation of not having done enough or not having done it correctly, because these are the sensations that will always make us come back, because we will want to correct what we have done wrongly. But wrongly according to whom? Who is there to judge us? No one. There is just you and your own interpretation of what you believe you did right or wrong. Because on the highest level of all, on the source consciousness level, there is really, even though it sounds very cold, there is no right and wrong. The source just exists. It just is. It allows, it flows, and it allows you to create interpretations and rules of the game along the way. And as you make interpretations and prejudices and judgments and decisions and preferences, this is where you get entangled in more and more realities, and then you will want to correct what you have done incorrectly based on what you yourself decided is correct and not correct. It's craziness. So yes, I'm not saying that we should just live however we want, we don't care, we can just do evil things because it doesn't matter. No, because this is the schizophrenia that Swaruu is always talking about, within the role that we are in, because our point of attention right now is within the role, okay? And within this role, we choose certain set of conduct and set of values, principles, and ethics. And this is, and they serve us at this moment. But it's up to us to decide if they do serve us, how they serve us, if you want to keep abiding by these sets of rules or not, because there will be no other judge but you. After we die, it's just going to be us who will bring us back in order to solve whatever it is that we interpret as in need of being solved. The universe itself doesn't give lessons. That's my feeling. It doesn't need to compensate for your bad actions or good actions. There's no judgment. There's no criteria of this sort of duality from the level of source consciousness. It doesn't judge. It doesn't take vengeance. Okay, karma is not vengeance of the universe. It just doesn't. It doesn't flow this way. It doesn't. It's you yourself who generates the feeling of guilt, and based on that feeling of guilt, it creates a certain wave within the etheric soup, and it makes you come back. It makes you continue. It makes you perpetuate your existence in order to solve that. But it's you yourself who is in the process of creating that judgment on yourself that it needs to be solved. So in order to get back to the source consciousness and to liberate from karma, we need to liberate ourselves from our own interpretations of our own conduct and moral judgments. Yes, that's how I feel. And I feel even no matter what the person does, even they deserve to be freed, and even they can be freed. No matter how bad the person seems to be, I still believe they can be freed, and they deserve to be freed. Yes, I even feel that, because I feel that to say, oh, karma will get that person deserves to get their karma back. I feel even our own perception of that situation in that way generates some sort of movement within the waves for ourselves, and we are we are kind of perpetuating the duality, division, separation, sort of reality existence for ourselves. where I feel in order to liberate ourselves from that, we should be more centered in a non-judgmental, observational, simply observational level. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't fight where we feel the fight is due. But at the same time, there is this part of me on a sort of a source consciousness level that does perceive even that, getting attached to that fight, as being still in the game. That fire to fight, even though I do have the fire to fight for the truth, for the liberation of the human race, etc., etc., I still feel on that other level that even that feeling belongs to the game field. It is part of the game field, and it's okay. Let's play, let's continue, let's do our best, just like in Monopoly we are doing our best, but at the same time let's not lose track of that spark of our consciousness that knows that this is a game, and in the end it's all okay, and it just is. I feel sometimes that even small interpretations of other people's behaviors and our own puts us in a state of duality. I know it's a very delicate subject, because I don't want to say that you should be apathetic and indifferent when you see injustices being done, etc. It's just that on some kind of metaphysical, deeper level, and I can't explain why I feel it and how I feel it and where it's coming from, but I feel even making smallest judgments and interpretations sets us apart, sets us away from the source, because I feel the source doesn't do that. So just like Swaruu said, don't try to minimalize your interpretations of things in general. Just observe, and that in itself will slowly liberate us from karma and will put us in a state of mind where we'll be able to see different perspectives at the same time. Okay, we will be able to see the game and the necessity to keep fighting the game, and at the same time we'll be able to see the nature of the game from the higher perspective. We'll have more vision. I think it's about having just more vision, not about abandoning the game. It's about having a vision, a higher perspective of everything, and being in one, being one with both realities, both identities within yourself. Just like she says, accept the schizophrenia of yourself. So let's all try working on that. I think it starts even from the simplest interpretations of, for example, when I drive with people, when I'm on the passenger seat and they drive, they always get very upset about how other drivers drive. And when someone is driving very slowly, they get upset and they say, why are you driving so slowly? What's going on? What's going on? And they are generating judgments and interpretations of that person's conduct, where in fact they have no idea what this person might be doing. Maybe it's something very important, maybe it's having a heart, maybe he's from Japan and doesn't know his way around. You have to empathize. And then on the next day, the same driver is the one driving slowly, and someone is beeping at the back, and he says, where are you going? So, well, I was in such a rush, right? And for sure you're going just to McDonald's or something. So now you're interpreting the one who is going fast behind you. So we are constantly creating the waves and thought patterns, creating interpretations and judgments. And I feel metaphysically it is creating undulations, it is creating waves, and it is kind of getting us attached more and glued and to the interpretive reality. And the interpretive reality, subjective, relative reality, is still the dualistic game. It's still a dualistic game. So I think we should, well, I don't think we should, it's just whatever you feel serves you in this moment, This is what you should do. But I feel that in order to liberate ourselves more and more from karma, from reincarnations in a cycle of reincarnations, unless we really want to, then we should keep expanding our vision, our cosmovision, and include more of these realities and perceptions into our reality, so we can have a very wide scope vision and perception of everything that we are at the same time, because we are everything. We are the game, and we are the creator of the game, and we are the destroyer of the game, if so we decide. So that's it for now. Thank you very much. And the next video will be about suffering. Yes, it will be about suffering. Why do we suffer? And it could be controversial and delicate too, because again, there are so many different interpretations of why people suffer and why they might be suffering. Is there such a thing as suffering, or is that a perception also? So let's keep expanding our visions through Swaruu's messages. Thank you, Swaruu, again very much, and thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.